My name is Damian, but you can call me that fresh. And in today's class, we're going to be talking about generating logo design ideas and inspiration. I'm going to be showing you my 6-step logo design process. In this 6-step logo design process, the first thing is the design brief. There are about 2 ways to get a design brief, right? So you either get it directly from the client or you develop one yourself through the information gathered from the client. Getting a brief from the client actually has not really proved to be very effective, right? It's not always very effective when you're getting a brief from the client, except from the fact that you are lucky to be working with a client that is savvy, right? A client that is savvy, a client that has a lot of knowledge about the design industry. They know the kind of information that they need to put in the design brief in order to help you, the designer, deliver a good job for them. This is also like you working for an organization that already has an in-house design team, and then they decided to outsource a particular design project. In this case, it can be a logo design project, right? The design team, their job is going to be to create the design brief. I mean, even if it's the creative director, right, need to provide you with the design brief, and they are going to do it in a very detailed manner that will help you, like I said, to help you deliver a good job for them. But these people are not in the majority, right? Most of the times you are going to be working with clients who are less experienced, who are probably not even experienced about how to write brief at all, right? And the truth is that they think they understand what a brief is. Let's say, for example, a client approached you for a flyer design project or a poster design project, and then you ask them for a brief. What they will send to you is the write-up of the project is what they will send to you as a brief. So, and you cannot blame them because they don't really understand what a brief is in the first place, right? So then that brings us to this question: what then is a brief? A brief is a document that outlines the details of the design project, the goals, and the scope of work. So basically, a design brief is supposed to help you identify what you as a designer need to do and within what constraints. Now that you already know that the client cannot give you the kind of brief you need to deliver a good job for them. So what you're going to have to do then is develop a brief through the information gathered from the client, right? You're going to have to develop the brief through the information gathered from the client. There are a couple of ways to get this information actually. There are a couple of ways to get this information. One of those ways is for you to send them questionnaires, right? If you send them questionnaires, they can answer your questions, give you answers, right? That way you can get information from them. Another way to do it is sending them a template, a brief template, right? A template for a brief, right? Whereby the questions are there and there are descriptions, right? There are guidelines on how to answer the questions and how to get some source for some information that they might not have or something, or a place for them to attach a link if there is a particular information somewhere, let's say probably on their website or something. They can just link it to the brief templates, right? But one of the most effective ways is actually talking directly to the client, right? Most of the times you are going to have to chat with them directly, or do a phone call, a video call, or have a physical you know conversation with the client, right? When you're having that one-on-one conversation, it always makes more sense. However, um, what was it called? Sending out a brief template or a questionnaire is usually a first, a good place to start, right? Personally, when I'm working with a new client, when a new client comes in, most of the times, I rarely just go and chat with them directly, right? I first of all want to send them either a questionnaire or a template brief, right? So the information that I get from that, I will now start chatting with them directly to extract more information, right? So I will chat with them directly to extract more information upon the information that has been given from either the brief template that I sent to them or the questionnaire, right? So that I can get much more information. So my question is going to be based on the information that they have already provided, right? However, if I'm actually working with what's it called, a client that has worked for before, right? What I get to do, because I probably already have some information about the background of their business and stuff and everything. So this new project, what we are going to have to do is just me just chat them up. We're going to have direct conversation about this particular new project, right? And that's way I can get more information from them, and that is how that is done. After you might have gotten all this information, what you want to do is you want to go and use this information to do your research. Now, remember I said it the other time that if you are working with clients that are knowledgeable about this whole thing, or you are working for a design team or a creative director that know all of these things, so they would have done all of this work for you, all this research and so many other nitty, or what's it called, hard work right? They would have done everything for you, right? The things you are going to need to do, right, are not going to be as much as what you are going to be doing if you are working with a client that does not have all this knowledge, right? And that's why you have to get paid well. Yeah. So you want to go and do your research with the information you have received from the client, right? Research is a vital step for any logo designer, by the way. If you do your research, you'll be able to create better logo that has more impact on the brand than if you just put anything together, right? You need to take your time to do the research. You will have to dip your eye into the industry, because that will help you understand how your clients, right, how your client's brand fits into that industry, right? You have to research the industry, understand the industry very well, right? And the same way, understanding the history of the what's it called, the brand you are working for, the brand you are creating designs for, it will help you make connections that you probably might have not paid too much attention to before. And also, it is important to look at your client's competitors, right? You need to do a research on your client's competition as well, in order to see what they are doing, right? I believe that is very, very necessary, because understanding their strengths and their weaknesses will help you identify how your clients can stand out, right? Where your clients can stand out, what you can do to make your client stand out, right? You need to research your target audience. This one can never be overemphasized. This one is like one of the most important parts of the research, right? You need to research their target audience because you need to understand what interests them. You need to understand the things that they care about, right? You need to understand what you can do, right, to attract them to the brand, right? You need to know who they are, what their age range is, what their age range is, what their interests are, where do they hang out most of the times, right? What are the things, all this information about them, right? A lot of information that you need to get about them, right? So you need to do your research to fully understand them. What are the TV programs they like? One might feel like, oh, this thing is not important or something. And what concerns TV program and right, and where they hang out with logo design and everything. Very, very important, my dear brother and sister. Okay, it is highly important that you know all of these things, right? You need to understand how they think, right? You need to understand their behavior, right? So you need to understand all of those things because it will influence the kind of logo that you will design at the end of the day. The next step is inspiration, right? So after you might have gotten information from the clients, right, done your research and gathered enough data, the next step is to go and find inspiration, right? Go and find inspiration. So the first thing you want to do here is to check up as many different logos as you can. Check up as many different logos as you can, from the big popular brands to small startups to any logo that you can find at all, interesting ones. I mean, you can even criticize some poor ones, right? Just to put yourself in that mind space, right? Because what you are doing in that process is that you are developing your subconscious idea bank, right? Subconsciously you are putting yourself in that mind space whereby your your subconscious self is connecting to this thing called logo design, right? Yeah, these things can be spiritual at times, right? Because it's all about you getting different logo design concepts into your head, getting as much as you can, just get it into your head. I mean, and this does not really mean that you want to copy and paste people, or you want to replicate what they have done or something. No, it's just to give you that vibe. You understand? Just to give you that vibe, that energy. That is why it is called inspiration in the first place, right? You have to look at some logo and say, wow, right? You see some logo, you'll be like, what was all this now, right? That vibe. Give yourself the the opportunity to do that. Smile or frown at some logos, right? There are different places you can get logo inspiration, right? You can just search on Google self, you get different logo inspiration. You can go to Behance, you can go to what's it called? You can go to I think 99 Designs. Even Instagram alone is enough to get inspiration for logo designs, right? It is more than enough to get inspiration for logo designs, right? So you really want to do that. And then if you have done that, the next thing you want to do is to kind of select few samples that you would like to present to your client. And this is basically just to know their taste, right? This is not maybe it does not necessarily have to even be logos from their industry or from their competitors, or it does not have to the logos you are going to present to them does not really have to have anything to do with their brand concept, right? Because the goal, the purpose of you doing this is just for you to know their taste, right? So many times designers, designers will complain that, yeah, I created a design for a client, they keep rejecting it or something. The thing is this: we know that there are some clients that are just like that. They just want to frustrate the designer, but not every client, right? So what you want to do is that you want to make sure that you are taking your clients along the journey, right? You first of all want to understand what they are expecting, and then you also, through that process, you are setting, right, what's it called, you are sending them an expectation, right? You are setting the expectation for them. They also know what to expect from you, right? So when you send them the samples that they should choose from, it's not as if you want to use those samples to actually create their own logo for them. No, you just want to know what their tastes are. Like, for example, now, for instance, there are some clients who have been tricked by all these scam amateurs that, what's it called, all these mock-up logos that they are doing for them up and down. They make people believe that those logos are 3D logos, right? So clients will come to you demanding for that kind of logo. So to those kind of clients, that's in their own perspective, that is what a good logo should look like. But many of them might not actually really tell you, or they might not even have the kind of vocabulary to explain it well to you. But if you show them some samples, right? So if these samples resonate with them, they will pick the ones that, okay, I like this one, and I don't really like this one, I like this one, and stuff like that. You understand? But some clients, they will be like, no, I don't. No, this is not the kind of logo that I'm talking about now, right? Like, okay, which logo are you talking about? No, they might also bring you samples or stuff like that, or they might, through their description, you might get to understand what they are talking about exactly. So you can then show that, are you talking about this kind of a logo, right? And then they said yes. Now, this is where you get to show your expertise and communicate the right information to the client. So you basically need to help them understand that this thing, that all these guys that are slapping whatever on a mock-up for people and they are calling it 3D logo for them, let your clients know that these guys are scams, right? You have to say it out loud. You have to be emphatic about it. That kind of client clearly is clearly ignorant about it, about this whole thing, right? I remember there was a time I was talking about this, I think on my WhatsApp chat or something, and I said the clients are ignorant, and it is the designer's responsibility to help them understand, the things they don't understand. And someone had to message me that, even if you want to educate people, you should not call them ignorant. And I'm wondering, like, is that supposed to be something? Being ignorant is normal. Being ignorant basically means that you are not aware of something. It is something you don't know, right? It is normal to be ignorant. There are things that I am ignorant about. Everyone has things that they are ignorant about. It's just somehow, in this part of the world, that some things we just take them too personally, right? So your client is ignorant, right? You have to accept that they are ignorant and tell them the things they don't know, right? And that's just it. However, it is now your responsibility to find the right words and the right tone of voice. Most of the times when clients and designers, when they have issues, most of the times it's usually because the clients most of the times don't have enough understanding, and the designer on the other hand lack good communication skills. So it is your responsibility as a designer to find the right words, to use the right tone of voice, right, to communicate your point in a way that your clients will understand it, right? So that is that's what you get to do there. So you can see that the the process of you showing them a sample will help you understand their perspective, will help you understand their taste. So let's take for instance now, you did not show them any sample or anything. They in their own mind, what they were expecting is one so-called 3D logo that is actually a mock-up, right? And then you went ahead and create this absolutely amazing logo design for them, and they are like, what's all this now? What have you done? And you be like, I know now, I've went all the way to come up with this amazing logo design for you, and then you want to reject it, and you start saying that client from L, the client is such and everything, right? It is true that we have some clients that are truly from L, right? However, many of the clients that we call clients from L, many of them are not really clients from L. It's just that there is miscommunication, and we just did not do something that we're supposed to do in the process. So the process of showing your clients a sample before proceeding will help you. Once again, the sample is not as if you are showing the sample to the client and then you now go and start creating designs based on the sample you have shown to them. No, the sample is basically supposed to help you understand what the client's tastes are, right? What their design tastes are. So you will then know, okay, these clients have a good design taste, so you know what to create for them. Or this client has a bad design taste, so you need to address that before you move forward, right? So that is the reason why you need to send them a sample. So like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be it doesn't necessarily have to be in their industry, it doesn't necessarily have to be their competitors, right? So these are basically different types of logo, right? From it can be either word mark logo, a letter mark logo, abstract mark logo, pictorial, any style of logo. Just give them these samples and wait for their response to know their taste. You just want to know their taste, and that is it. It's not as if you want to use those samples to create designs for them. You want to know their taste so that there will not be stories that touch in the future, right? So that you know where you stand, you know what their perspective are, from which points, because you need to know how they are thinking. So they are your own audience. You need to know what is going on in their mind, right? For you guys to have a good relationship, you need to be able to understand them, and they need to be able to understand you too, right? Yeah. So after you might have done that, the next thing you need to do is come up with a color palette, right? After you might have sent them the sample and everything. I mean, it's not a must that you do this one by one, right? You can do the source for the inspiration and everything. Select the samples you want to give them, put it somewhere, start working on the color palette, right? So when you work on the color palette, so the data that that you gathered, the data that you gathered on the target audience and the brand during the research stage, this is where it's going to be useful for you, right? Because you will be able to make, it will help you easily make decisions on what color schemes will work for the brand, what schemes, what color palettes, properly represents the brand's personality, their identity, right? What kind of color resonates more with their target audience, right? Based on the results of your research, right? So this will then help you develop a color palette that works for your clients, right? So after you might have done that, you will then need to show them this, right? You need to show them this color palette, right? You need to show it to them. And this thing, I know there are designers out there who are so egotistical that They feel like, no, you cannot be part of the process and everything. It is my job. Let me just do what I'm here to do, and I'll send the logo to you. And I'm like, where on earth? How on earth would you think of working for your clients in a manner that you isolate them from the entire process? And then when you now bring the design and started rejecting it, you start crying out loud. Right? Why not bring them in and walk them through the process? You see, the process of showing them sample, the process of showing them the color palette, right? They will be aware of the process and the progress you are making, right? It will help them be aware of the process and the progress you are making. So they are going to feel part of the whole thing, right? They are going to feel part of the whole thing, and that is the thing, right? You have to make sure that your client is part of the process because you're actually taking them from point A to point B, right? They have to know how things are going. That is the secret to not having issue with your clients, right? When they are part of it, they understand it, they are even proud of it, right? They are proud of it when they are part of it, right? Take them through the process. It does not cost you anything to show them, okay, this is where we are now. This is your color palette. This is the color palette we have developed for you, and these are the reasons why we developed this. You have to give them reasons, right? They have to know why you make the decisions you are making. If you are not going to let them make decisions, the decisions you make, you need to tell them the reasons why you are doing what you are doing. You need to tell them how it's going to benefit them in the long run, right? You need to tell them, because the reason why they hire you is because they don't have the expertise and the knowledge to do things right. So that is the reason why you should not really take decisions from them, right? They should not be the one making decisions for you, right? When you are creating designs for a client, most of the time the decision is not going to be a very good one. So, but if you are even if you are making the decision, you have to let them know why you made those decisions, right? So that is just the process to take them along, right? To take them along the process, right? Exactly. After you might have showed them the logo samples, right? You might have showed them the color palettes and all, right? What you get to do then is you go and you go and use all of those stuff, all those materials and information and everything, use it to develop a creative brief, right? So you can see all the things that you have been doing since morning. If you are to be working for, let's say, someone like me, if I hire you, majority of designers that has worked with me, especially on logo design projects, they can testify to how much detailed my creative brief are, because I put my sweat into it. I do the research, I do all the hard work for them, right? So if you are working with that kind of a person, definitely you might not need to go through all this process. What you are going to need to do is not going to be much. So it's going to be your own discretion to decide, right, the level of research you need to, the things you still need to research. Definitely there might still be one or two things that you still need to check up yourself, right? Definitely, but it's not going to be as strenuous, and definitely because it's work, right? It's a lot of work. We have to accept that it is a lot of work, right? Yeah, definitely. So, and that is it, right? So after you might have done all of that, you now use it to create a brief, and the brief can probably look something like this, right? Can probably look something like this. Now, like I said earlier, that this is my own process. Some of you looking like, oh my god, look at this F4 room. Right? This is my own process, right? And so for some other people it might be different. But this is what I use, this is what I have developed, and I've been using for a while now, right? Before now I've been using different other processes and everything, but over time I've been able to develop patterns and my own unique process that I am using currently, right? So you can see we have about the brand, right? We have their their vision statements, we have their mission statements, we have we have their core values, we have their taglines, and then we also have what does the brand need, right? We have why do they need what they need, right? No, it also outlines the deliverable, the project deliverables, right? Those are the things that's supposed to be in a design brief, not write up that most of your clients will send to you, right? Those are the things that are supposed to be in a design brief. So where will the logo be used, right? So you have to you have to develop this brief yourself, because most of your clients are not going. No, think about it. Abba, how do you want them to to come along with this kind of a thing, right? It's nowhere. It's not in their word, right? So it's not in their word. So don't make it look as if maybe the client are just awkward or something, or they are doing something bad for not giving you a good brief. It's not. So it is clearly not their work, right? So what you have to do is to make sure that you charge them for it, right? You must include it in your charges. That's the reason. That is these are so if you want to charge higher, right? If you want to raise your price, right? A lot of designers complain about difficulties about with raising their prices, right? You have to learn the things that, because people don't just raise their price. Yeah, definitely you need to know your worth, and truly you need to know your worth, right? So what you are doing, does it really worth the amount of money you are charging for it, right? So you yourself need to first of all judge yourself. So if you are a designer that you are not willing to learn how to do all of these things, I wonder how you want to move out from the level of begging clients to pay you 5,000 naira for logo design, when people are taking 50, 100k and above. There are people who are charging millions for the same logo design that every one of us are doing, right? So there are levels to these things, right? And it's about what you know and the amount of value you are giving to people, right? So we can all be confident and we know our worth and everything, but even at that, you have to make sure that you are delivering at a very higher level, right? That you can even justify the amount of money you are calling for it, right? What's it called? Normally, it does not really. You really do not really have to justify anything per se. However, you need to have some conscience too. You need to make sure that whatever you are doing the best of work, and you are doing something extraordinary, right? So it will give you that confidence to, sometimes it will be hard for you to stick to that your high price. To be hard for you to stick to that your high price. But if you know your worth and you know what you are going to do for them, you know that you are not going to cut corners. You're not going to do, you're not going to slap something on mock-up and call it 3D logo for them. You will stand your ground and hold firm to your worth. Charge your worth, right? Because you know what you are doing, right? Exactly. So those designers who are not willing to do all of these extra works, they are the ones that will continue to complain about clients not willing to pay them well and all, right? Exactly. So then after the vision for the projects, then we have the examples of preferred logo styles. Can you see what is playing out here, right? So for instance, now these are some of the samples, right? You have sent them about 10 to 6 samples, right? And you told them to choose their top 4, right? And then they choose the 4 samples that they prefer, right? Now you have known their taste. So these samples that you are seeing here does not necessarily suggest that these are the kind of logo you are going to create for them. No. But what it tells you is that this client has a good design taste, right? So the fact that they selected the ones they preferred, it means that yes, they have a good design taste. You are rest assured that if you create something amazing for them, they are going to accept it. Unlike the 3D logo people. Do you understand? So that's the reason. That's the reason why I do this, right? That is the reason why I feel like it is important that you do it, so that you don't have start telling stories that touch later on, where you are very deep into the project. The same thing, right? Preferred brand colors, right? The colors that they prefer, like, okay, yeah, this is the color that they want, right? And the color must have been decided based on their their brand, right? The industry they are in, not specifically the industry per se, but their personality, their target audience, right? Basically, the color has to represent all of that, and it has to resonate with their target audience as well, right? So the preferred colors, and then the required file types, which is relevant file formats for print and digital use, right? The deadline, right? That also has to be included. So you must have known the duration of time that the design, the logo design should be delivered. And if it's a complete identity design project, you know that okay, the logo should be delivered, like for this particular brief now, the logo is needed to be delivered within 1 week. Others should be delivered within another 1 week unfailingly, right? So that is a design brief for you. So after you might have created all of this and everything now, so you can see we have this last period that says kindly acknowledge this brief and revert as soon as possible, so we can get to work. Thanks. So you then send to your client for approval. Think about it. You have done all of this work and everything and all, and then you send this to your client. I mean, it will further help them see the amount of work you are doing and the value of what you are doing for them, right? So it's very, very important that you do all of these things. Now tell me, how will you say it's going to be hard for you to come up with a good logo, to come up with a good idea after you have soak yourself into all these things, you have gone through all this process. Now the rest is going to be beans, right? Exactly, that's the idea. So you want to soak yourself. So after you might have sent them the brief, they have approved the brief, you want to soak yourself into the project now by creating a mood board that encompasses every material that can serve as a representation of what the brand is all about. This may include imagery, it may include video footages, or even audio soundtracks that can help you visualize everything that the brand stands for, right? That can put you in that feeling, right? Remember the other time I said these things can be spiritual at times. Sometimes when I'm working on projects like this, I mean many times actually, whereby I get to sleep and dream about this project, right? I dream about this project, I get ideas from dreams, right? And that doesn't just happen, all coincidentally. It doesn't happen coincidentally. You must have soaked yourself into that project, right? That's why it takes months sometimes before a project is completed at times, right? Make the project a part of you, right? Make it a part of you. So all this process is basically to make sure that once you are ready to go to you can see all the things we are doing since morning. We have not opened any design software, guys. We have not opened any design software. That is to let you know that it's not really about design software. The other time I was talking about being a graphic designer is not really about the design software, right? This is part of the things that makes you a graphic designer, right? It's not really about the software you are using to create design, because we haven't opened any design software since, and look at what we have been doing. These are the actual work there. What you do in the software is just the roundup, right? Just rounding things up. So So after you might have done that, soak yourself into the project and everything, then you go to the ideas and concepts step, right? This is where you get to, what's it called? This is where, you get to bring out the ideas, right? Let it flow. Let your creativity flow, right? This is where you let everything go out. And the most effective ways, right, to generate logo design idea after the previous steps is by sketching, actually, right? Is by sketching. Sketching out all the ideas you can possibly come up with. Sketch it out, including the good, the bad, the worst. Sketch everything out, right? The goal here is, right, to just get every idea you have, get everything out of your head, right? And you don't even necessarily have to be good at drawing, right? Does not have to be perfect, right? Just sketch any idea that comes to your mind. Just sketch, right? It's it can be very, very, interesting, right? Just play around. You don't even have to be serious. You don't have to be serious. This is where creativity is about. Sometimes just play around. It's not something that you have to be strict and very serious about and stuff. Yeah, that's the idea. So once you do that, make sure that you get as much ideas as possible. The next thing you want to do, you want to develop the good ideas, right? So you want to select few good concepts from all the ideas. You want to select few of them that you will now go and develop with a computer-based software, e.g. Adobe Illustrator, right, or CorelDRAW, right? So you see now, Adobe Illustrator and CorelDRAW are actually the design softwares that I would recommend for logo design, right? I know that I'm a very strong advocate of there are no limitations when it comes to creating designs, and it's about you identifying the software that works for that can help you achieve a particular result and use it, right? So Canva, Photoshop, and many of these other softwares out there, many of them are raster based softwares. And what that means is that if you find yourself in a situation whereby you created a logo and you want to let's say they want to use it on a billboard, on a large format project, it is not scalable. A raster based file is not scalable, but a vector, right, a vector file can be scaled to any size at all, which is what Illustrator and Photoshop provide you. However, I still prefer Illustrator to Photoshop, but sorry, Illustrator and CorelDRAW. That was what I was going to say. That I prefer Illustrator to CorelDRAW, right? I'm allowed to have preference, right? Definitely. So that is my own personal preference. However, it's not a deal breaker. If what you know how to use is CorelDRAW, please use it by all means. What matters is that you deliver a good logo. If you go through all this process, you deliver something amazing, right? And that's the whole idea. So the next thing you want to do then is presentation. What you just want to do there in the presentation step is to select the best out of the best. You want to select the best out of the best that will be presented to the client. That's what you want to do. If you realize that out of all the concepts, let's say for instance you develop 4 concepts and you realize that it's only one of those concepts that makes all the sense, that works perfectly well for the brand, please present only that one concept, right? If you are ever going to present multiple concepts to your clients, you have to make sure that each and every concept meets the standard, right? Each and every concept, whichever decision the clients make, it is going to work well for their brand. So it's not going to be a situation whereby you know that one of those designs is not very good, and then you went ahead and presented it to the clients, and then the clients now choose the one that's not very good, and you now be like, why did they have so much bad taste? They should have chosen a particular one now, because you know that was what you gave to them was not very good enough, right? And then so you expect them to just automatically know what is better. No, that is why you are the professional and you are the expert. You have to give them what is best for them. So if you are ever going to present multiple concepts to your clients, you have to make sure that all the concepts meet the standard, right? None of it is below the standard. None of it has any form of compromisation or anything, right? Because already sending multiple samples or concepts of your logo design, of any design at all, to a client causes confusion. Most of the time it is usually very hard for them to make decisions. Many times that you get clients tell you, man, all these logos are just too beautiful, I don't even know which one to take. Everything just looks good and all, which is fine, right? But it is okay if all the logos, all the concepts, all the samples that you give to the clients are they are okay, they are good to go. Whichever decision the client makes, there is no problem about it, right? It's fine. But if you realize that maybe out of 4, maybe it is 2 that is very, very okay, please present only that 2. If it is 3, present only that 3. If it is just 1, present only that 1, right? And that is my logo design process that I just shared with you. I hope you find it valuable and useful, and that is the end of this class. So my name remains Damilola, but you can call me that fresh. You see, it's daybreak already. What's the time? This is about 7:34, right? And I think I started doing this recording around 5 a.m. I guess, right? Because we had a live session last night that was supposed to be recorded. Actually, the recording was going on, but we lost the recording during the class. Somehow the technology was tried to really deal with us last night. So that is the reason why I decided to remake this video. I haven't had the opportunity to sleep since last night. So it's daybreak already, so I'm just going to, and I still have a lot of obligations today, but guess what? I am happy to be doing this with you guys. That's just the fact. That's the only reason why I wouldn't have slept since last night, and I'm still I'm still doing this, is because I love what I'm doing with you guys, and I really appreciate you guys for showing up. I mean, right now you are on my YouTube channel. I will appreciate it if you subscribe, hit the like button, drop a comment for me. I mean, if you have a question, absolutely, please do drop it in the comment section, and I will take the time to respond to you. Or if you are in our design chat, in that design chat group, right, you can just drop your question there, right? You will always get answers. I will always touch on those questions and give you answers, right? So please subscribe, hit the like button, drop a comment. Yeah, I mean, you can also share this video to share. Get friends where you feel like they're supposed to see this kind of video, they're supposed to learn this kind of process, so that the what's it called? To me, I feel like this is still one of the easiest process, because there are so many different. I told you guys I have tried different methods and different processes. I have had to develop my own process, right? Kind of reverse engineer different processes and all. So I feel like this is the perfect process for me right now that I'm using. I've been using this for a while now, and that's how I've been able to deliver a lot of good work that are out there today, right? So try this process. It's really going to make your job very, very easier. Trust me, it's going to make your job very, very easier. And that is it. Bye for now.